quite here yet.
We are.
Now we're live. Okay, so
as is traditional, can you hear us?
This is the one thing I'm not sure how to check. So can you hear us? Are we loud enough? Speak now.
We're not talking. We should probably keep talking, otherwise
we'll
it's
keep
unclear.
talking, but say if we're too quiet or too loud, and we will adjust.
Can someone please say yes? We can hear you.
Someone says, "I love Svengali." Well, that's great.
I feel like maybe you can't hear us, or someone would say.
Me too. There might be like a slight delay on it. That's also a thing.
Yeah,
So,
I accept that.
So we'll find out. That is the mystery. We can hear you.
Yeah.
Hooray! Everyone
This may be a first.
Everyone's like, why are they said they can hear us. We said they can hear us.
Okay, well, I brought this on myself. I didn't realize there was that much of a delay between what I said and you hearing me. I can only apologize.
Excellent. Well, that's good to actually start off a live stream with people being able to hear us.
Yeah, we weren't saying anything.
Not always a guarantee.
No, we've got some questions already. Should we charge those?
Okay,
right.
So first of all, someone was asking about special on Phantom of the Opera, by which I assume they mean Andrew Lloyd Webber's Phantom of the Opera and its hit sequel, Love Never Dies.
Oh, yeah, that's not so great. I like the Phantom of the Opera.
The Phantom.
Yeah, I think that there is definitely room for a special about Phantoms of the Opera. Exactly. I definitely think it's worth doing one about like the silent one and the Universal. Obviously, the silent one's Universal as well, but the Claude Rains one and the Hammer one. Where we draw the line on Phantoms of the Opera, I don't know. If we would do sort of like those three and then make reference to the other one, including the Lloyd Webber one, which I like the stage musical. I should clarify, the film's terrible. So I don't know. Yeah, it's certainly it's a possibility.
Excellent. A special on Salem's Lot.
I just don't know enough about Salem's Lot.
I mean, maybe there'd be some, because there's a remake coming this year.
Yes,
I vaguely recall. So maybe there's something about looking back at it.
You can write that.
A special might be generous.
Well, I think more
a streaming review might be.
Well, to be honest, I think more
possible.
Ignorant. I mean, we there's no point in us doing specials about stuff that we don't know about already. To some extent,
yes.
I mean, there's a lot of research.
We try
starting from a ground zero on Salem's Lot, all I've done with Salem's Lot is seen it. I haven't read the book.
Yeah.
So I don't think that would be such a good special.
I know it's got a Nosferatu vampire in it.
Yes, Kurt Barlow, I think is the name.
And then the other question was, it was in relation to one of your books, The Mummy's Quest.
Shall I get?
Yes. Well, anytime somebody mentions the book, we'll get it out.
The Mummy's Quest.
So in your book, The Mummy's Quest, people have issues communicating with the mummy since he doesn't automatically speak English.
No, he speaks Egyptian.
And obviously in TV shows and things, everyone instantly all speaks English so they can understand. Are there tropes like that exist that you don't like?
I was trying to think. I mean, the main trope that I dislike in the films that we review is I find the heroes absolutely ghastly. I think attempts to make me like the hero that center around him being a bit of a prick.
I mean, we're recording the review for Thor the Conqueror tomorrow.
Oh boy, yeah.
I don't think we've come across a hero less deserving of being a hero.
I think that's fair. I mean,
but in fairness, he had a bad teacher.
He had a really bad teacher, and you've got to see the review.
This is going to be
going to be an extraordinary review. But also, we thought, I don't know. Do we accept him as the hero? Is he really the hero? He doesn't do anything heroic, and I don't think that the film. He doesn't really gain anything throughout. It's called Thor the Conqueror. He conquers nothing.
Michael G. Clark says Graham's already on the whiskey, so it's going to be good. You say already on the whiskey, but right now it's just gone 11 o'clock here. So
it's quite late here.
It's quite late. So
you should be very grateful we're doing this. We've both had he's been to the cinema. I've had a long day.
This, 11 o'clock is whiskey hour. And for those curious, today's whiskey is Whistle Pig Old World Cask. It's very tasty.
Please sponsor us if you're watching.
Yes, please sponsor us, some whiskey company. And you're drinking a stout from somewhere.
You took it.
from somewhere. A
Yeah.
stout.
A stout.
A
Yeah.
stout. Cool. What is, if any, is your favorite Jean-Luc Godard film?
Jean-Luc Godard. Now, am I getting? No, sorry, I'm thinking of Truffaut. Godard. I think I'm probably going to end up going with. And apologies for the pronunciation. Abu de Souf, which is breathless.
Yeah. Robin.
Yes.
Your thought on Monolith Monsters was good or bad?
I think it's
bad.
It's
Premise
a middling
good.
one. It's it's a great premise. I think they really messed it up.
Yeah.
We have done a review of that. Check that out.
Yes.
It was on Horror Channel the other night, so it actually had quite a good week.
Oh, I see. Yeah, but we also put it in our top 10 B movies that should be remade.
Yes, yes.
So
it's a really good idea. There is something about that relentless progress of something that you can't reason with, you can't talk to. It is just a scientific, a chemical process that's happening. You can't stop it.
And the flaw in the film being that the rocks grow when they get wet.
Yeah.
And they try everything except
Every
for getting
substance.
it wet.
Yeah.
Like you would have think at some point they would have tried to clean the rock or something.
Yeah.
So they have to work overtime to avoid finding out exactly what.
Yeah. The scientists come across as monumentally stupid.
Yeah. And it's not even if you found out that getting it wet was the problem, there's not an easy solution to that.
No.
So so that's Monolith Monsters.
Yeah. Yeah, good idea.
Any chance of a science in B movie special with the science advisor?
Well, that it's interesting. You should mention that. If you, I don't know yet, but if you watch, I don't know exactly when it will be out, but we're filming tomorrow. One of the reviews we're filming tomorrow, the question at the end does pertain to that. I don't know why I'm teasing it like that, but basically we're going to ask if there are films that people would like the science advisor's take on, and we'll see what response we get. And if people are up for it, then
and also it's slightly easier now because you've moved much closer to home.
Yes.
So previously we had sort of timed this when you were visiting home. So
yeah. And I'll be able to record the science advisor. The science advisor will have better audio quality because I can use a proper microphone.
Yeah, but the picture quality will probably be as bad because you're using the same camera phone.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're not dragging yourself out to the West Country for if we do the full special, then you'll have to.
I will do. Yeah, we'll come out and we'll do some stuff.
Yeah.
How
many years have we been doing this? I'm always here. You never come and visit.
When is tea time? You're a tea drinker.
When is tea time?
Yeah.
I usually have a cup of tea about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Just sort of take a 10-minute break.
Yeah.
Have a cup of tea and a biscuit, and then I find that I work better for that last few hours before dinner.
What sort of biscuit?
Whatever I've got.
You feel like a rich tea kind of person.
I never really liked rich tea.
I know, but they're also the cheapest, is what I was thinking.
Digestives are cheaper. If you get Tesco, I get whatever own brand biscuits are cheapest.
Okay. So, but when you come here for a shoot, do you know what I've got for us tomorrow?
I do not.
Fox's ginger nut custard cream things.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of just ginger nuts.
More for me.
I mean, I'll eat them.
I'll force them down to spite you.
No, I mean, it's not like I dislike them. They're not my top choices. A friend of mine who works in TV managed to make one of his runners cry by saying that she got poverty biscuits. He took the type of biscuits that he was brought have to be of a certain quality.
It's
for the record, they were bourbons, which I don't consider to be poverty.
No, that's a quality biscuit.
He's gone all Hollywood.
Well, I would say
on the off chance you're watching, Johnny, you terrible person.
In the benchmark of poverty biscuits, the bourbon is just struggling to get out of that lower class.
You can get a very cheap bourbon. But I still like a bourbon.
Yeah, I would go along with that. Well, it is. There's a
thank you.
Thank you. Thank
you, whoever gave us money.
We'll get down to your question in a second after we finish talking about biscuits.
Yeah, we should.
Which I also bet that Americans have got no idea what a bourbon biscuit is.
Well, no, it would be pronounced a bourbon biscuit in America, and it would taste of
that's
whiskey.
going to be. Oh, that would
That'd be great.
That'd be great. But a bourbon bit is kind of like a chocolate biscuit, cocoa biscuit, probably more than chocolate.
It's similar to an Oreo, but with a chocolate filling rather than a cream one, and just a very, very, very different consistency.
Yeah, it's not much.
It's not
like
similar to an Oreo.
It's similar to Oreo in the
visually.
it's brown.
Yeah, it has layers. I guess was more what I was going for.
Yeah,
yeah. It's not. It doesn't taste like an Oreo.
Yeah, but it's a quality biscuit.
Also, a biscuit is a cookie for our American.
yeah, because they're going to be thinking what we're talking about. I think if you had a biscuit of choice.
Chocolate hobnob is always good.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Who played Dracula the best, Lugosi or Christopher Lee?
I suppose it depends what you're in the mood for. I think I'd probably go with Lee.
Mm-hmm.
At least I don't know about best, but it's more to my taste, I suppose.
Do you think Lee got a really good opportunity to do Dracula?
I suppose it depends what you mean by do Dracula.
Yeah, because
obviously that first film is great, and I actually think that his performance in Prince of Darkness is maybe his best one, where he doesn't say a word, which is was Jimmy Sangster's idea, not Christopher Lee's. He's misremembering.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe his best performance as Dracula.
Was it just Franco's? The other one that he did?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Now you're saying that, I'm not sure, but yeah, the one with the Count Dracula.
Yeah. Which I think just only recently, John Williams did the score for it.
Really?
And just all of a sudden, I just started seeing all of these posts about it, being like this really amazing John Williams score that kind of got sidelined because of obviously the more popular films. So I want to try and get hold of that at some point. Yes, special with your father. Greeting from Texas.
Hello, Texas.
I watched your video on The Devil Rides Out and The Devil's Bride, as it's known in America. That wasn't a question. They watched it.
I hope you enjoyed it as well.
Oh, there's another donation.
Thank you very much.
Get down to these. Did you go and see Top Gun Maverick at the cinema?
No, I'm almost ashamed to admit this. I watched Top Gun for the first time 2 weeks ago because Top Gun Maverick came out. So I watched it because the sequel had come out, and I thought I might want to see it. And to be honest, I wasn't that blown away by Top Gun. Although I was listening to the critic Mark Kermode, who's a favourite critic of mine in this country, and he wasn't a fan of Top Gun, but said he really enjoyed Top Gun. It's kind of irresistible, and the flight sequences apparently are just extraordinary. So maybe there are other things at the cinema I'd rather see. So I think I probably won't get.
I have very solid thoughts on Top Gun, having seen it. And
okay, over to Graham.
It was Star Wars, so blatantly. The end goal is they have to fly through a trench. They have to hit a target 2 meters wide.
Wow.
And then fly out again. And when the guy who's supposed to hit the target, his targeting computer breaks. And so he has to, I can't remember the phrase, but it's literally might as well be use the force.
Wow.
And then flying back, the plane's attacking him. And then one of the other planes comes out of nowhere and saves the day. And
should we have a spoiler alert here, by the way?
I don't think that's really a spoiler. You know, that I've left out the kind of twisty bit in there. But essentially, once I started seeing it was Star Wars, that's all I can see. And when I explain that to my friends afterwards, I went, oh, yeah. But we both also recently saw Everything Everywhere All at Once that we really enjoyed. So if you can see that, especially if you can see it at the cinema, great. But I think it's streaming in America at the moment, so you can check it out. I saw Men yesterday, which I thought was okay, and the one with Emma Thompson tonight, Good Luck Leo Grand, which is okay. Yeah, I was going
to go to the cinema on Thursday, but it turns out I'm seeing family instead. So,
do you prefer Brian Cox or Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter? No, Maz Nicholson for me.
Really? I prefer Anthony Hopkins, but that's because I prefer Silence of the Lambs. I think that if you put Hopkins' performance into, I've forgotten the name of the film with Brian Cox now, but yeah, into the Michael Mann film, I think that would be awful. And the same, I think they're giving the right performance for those films. I just find the earlier film a little bit too 80s now. Is it Manhunter?
Manhunter.
Manhunter. Yeah. I find that a little bit too relentlessly 80s now, and some of Michael Mann's 80s-ness I find a little hard to take. I just prefer Silence of the Lambs, and I think that's the right, that sort of gothic performance is right for it.
Yeah. What did Robin's dad, Mr. Bales Sr., do to get him the title of science advisor? It's nepotism.
Well, the story is basically my dad is, or he's retired now, but he was a research chemist. He spent his whole life. He has PhD in chemistry. He's extraordinarily knowledgeable about science in all areas. He has some, because of his age, and he sort of straddled certain eras, he has sort of knowledge from a lot of different areas. So he's very up on this sort of thing still now. And when we did a review of the Cape Canaveral monsters, there was a piece of science in there, and it just sounded so ridiculous. But sometimes B-movies unexpectedly get stuff right. So I checked it with my dad. And then when I sent the review to Graham, I just said in passing, oh, I checked this with my dad and it's bullshit. And he said, oh, well, we should get your dad to say it. And it's just become a running joke since then.
I didn't realise that.
But yeah, it was your idea. Yeah, the science advisor was your idea.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, what he's done,
You're got welcome, Mr. Bales. I've made you a star.
What he did to get the title was get a PhD in chemistry and spend a lifetime working in the subject. He's a proper scientist.
Do you guys watch Svengali? Probably a way of getting it. I'm like aware of it, especially because if he shows a film that we've reviewed, that review will spike. So we tend to know what he's reviewed.
I find that I don't even watch Mystery Science Theatre as much as I used to. I just feel like I spent enough of my time watching bad films.
Yeah. I think there's also an element of it that we try and avoid what other people doing similar things to us are, so we don't, end up taking their jokes or something.
We will probably never review This Island Earth because I'm so familiar with the MST3K film, which was the big film version of that, that I can quote it all the way through. I absolutely love it, and I don't think that I can review it without stealing jokes or without deliberately trying to avoid it, and I just don't think it'll work.
Well, it's right. It's gutting. It's like, because we did. What was the one with the guy who turned himself into a fish monster?
Zat.
So that was one of the first ones that Red Letter Media did when they started doing their new strand, and so I held off on that for like 6 years, I think, or something, before we got around to doing it. But then we did our Christmas one. Last year. Bloodbeat. So we shot it, and then literally the week that we were putting it out, Red Letter Media did it the same week, and then one of the Brian Tenhold had also done it slightly earlier in the year. But at the time when we'd picked it out, like nobody had done it, and then it just looked like we were following everybody else. So it's like, timings on it. So
I've never seen anyone sort of like comment on Red Letter Media or on Brandon Tenhold's thing saying Dark Corners got there first. Sometimes we must have.
We certainly have.
Nobody says it.
But I don't know. I don't sit through their comments. But if
that's true,
maybe you guys. I mean, Brian certainly has been to our channel because he's commented a few times.
I think it's Brandon.
Yeah, because I called him Brian.
Is that what he commented? Stop calling me Brian.
I got his name wrong. Who is this Brian Tenhold?
Somebody's actually directly quoting, so we do a science advisor special, donating, so we do a science advisor special. Thank you very much, Scott.
There we go. Don't let your dad see that you think he's earned that.
Oh, God, we should probably pay the science advisor. The only one who's actually qualified to do his job in this show.
It kind of reminds someone of Doctor Who, your dad.
He'd love that. He's a big Doctor Who fan.
How do you feel about the new Doctor Who casting?
I only know Ncuti Gatwa from that one show, and he's not going to
Which one?
Sex Education. I'm not sure how much else he's done.
Yeah.
But which isn't a show I like.
Oh, I love that show.
I really don't. I couldn't get into it at all. So I don't know. I'm sure he won't be playing Doctor Who as he's playing that character.
But I think he will come into it with the same sort of energy. There's
Right.
I think he's got like a good energy about him, and
that
I'm
would be
kind
my
of
only
interested.
reservation. I don't since the sort of the reboot of Doctor Who, they have a lot of doctors talking very fast and jumping around a lot, and I actually would prefer them to just to calm down.
Right,
a
yeah,
little.
you don't want Yeah, I agree. You don't want manic.
Yeah. But
Okay,
no, I'm
I see
looking
that.
forward to him. There's, I mean, the stuff that's being leaked about the episode that Russell T Davis is re-entering with. They just seem to be bringing everybody back who's still alive. Bernard Cribbins will apparently be in it, which is very exciting.
Oh. Robin, I seem to remember you saying you haven't read much Lovecraft. Is there a horror author whose work you plan diving into?
Not really.
There's this one called Robin Bales who's written.
Excellent books. No, I don't really read a lot of horror. In general, I read sort of like classic horror, I suppose. But I don't know. I spend most of my time these days, it seems, reading stuff to research for Dark Corners. I don't seem to read as much fiction as I should. And when I do, then it tends to be stuff that people give me. Yeah. I'm not sure when I last bought a book for myself for pleasure. But no, I don't think it's something I'm desperate to get into.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to Doctor Who's 60th anniversary?
I hadn't really thought about it, but yeah, I'm sure they'll do something cool. Although I felt that the last big anniversary, they didn't get it quite right. Although it was great seeing Tom Baker, but that scene was very confusing.
Yeah.
I feel like they just wound him up and let him go.
It was kind of cool to have like all of the Doctors all turning up at the end. And I don't know if that was which one that was. I don't know what anniversary, but the one where they which I thought was very very cleverly done.
Yes.
But I'm guessing maybe for the 60th anniversary, I'm guessing they'll do another all the Doctors showing up kind of thing.
I don't know. There's always been there's always been holdouts. Even when they did the 5 Doctors back with Peter Davidson, Tom Baker didn't appear.
I think but I think you could get. Yeah, you only need like a handful, otherwise it gets too much anyway.
Yeah.
Andromeda Strain. Have you seen that? It's the one where there's like a virus going around. It turns all their blood to powder.
I think that one's passed me by.
That one, I remember watching that very early B movie in my time of watching B movies, and it was introduced by your favorite critic,
Mark Kermode.
When you see the Channel 4 thing.
Right, yeah.
And he sort of said that this is a really interesting film because you could tell which planes were going to crash because they weren't real airlines. But I remember, I think it's a reasonably good film with some.
Is that one that was set this year? Is that one of our list? Oh, okay.
No, I don't think so.
Move on.
Yeah, I would have probably pushed that through. Let's not talk about cookies, just so you know where the comments are at. Do you have a favourite soundtrack or film composer? I mean, obviously, I very much like John Williams. Very lucky that I got to see him this year. Went to Austria for that, and that was awesome.
I like John Williams. I adore Sergio Leone. This week, for some reason, I've just had in my head the theme for Yojimbo by Masaru Sato, who I think if he was a Western composer would be much better known. He's a fantastic composer. And the theme for that is one of my favorite of all time. So I'm going to go with him because I think it makes me sound slightly cooler.
Cool. So this is from Dean, who gave us $6 Canadian 99 cents.
So $7 Canadian. Thank you, Dean.
How about a favorite books classic?
And classic and current.
Classic and current.
Horror books or just any sort of books? I don't know why I'm asking. By the time there's a response. I'm trying to think of anything I love. I don't know if it's classic or if it counts as classic or current. It's certainly not new, but there's a book called Little Big by John Crowley, who is an author whose books I like very much, although I can usually only read them once because I find the ones not all of the ones I've read, but some of the ones I've read, Little Big being one of them. And what's the other one that was gut-wrenching? They tend to be books that at some point just kick you in the crotch. And oh, God.
Oh,
in a
John
good
Williams.
way.
Sorry, just a correction. John Williams did the soundtrack for the Frank Langella Dracula.
Ah, right. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, continue.
I think that's a favorite of mine. More recent than that, Carter Beats the Devil, I thought was a fantastic book. That's probably, yeah. Also, my sister-in-law bought me Circe, and I can't remember the name of the author off the top of my head, but that grabbed me from like page one. I think it's a brilliant piece of writing.
Okay, I know you're newish to Giallo films, but do you
Yes.
like the unconventional titles of those films?
I hadn't really given this a lot of thought. We're reviewing a Giallo film for regular Dark Corners. Again, one we're doing tomorrow, which is called The Dead Are Alive. I don't know if that counts as an unconventional title, but it's completely inaccurate. So actually, I found that really quite irritating.
Yeah, I was sometimes wondering, is there something that's getting lost heavily in translation?
Maybe. I suppose it's stuff like The Bird with Crystal Plumage is maybe where you would go. I quite like that sort of thing. I don't think a title has to say exactly what the film does, but I think that example is one that gives you an idea of the tone of the film, maybe. So yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Do you ever worry about running out of old movies that are worth reviewing?
We certainly don't worry about running out of bad movies. I worry, not worry exactly, but it feels like we've done an awful lot of the 1950s ones.
Yeah,
now,
I feel that we might have.
I kind of like those ones more to review. I think they're more fun for me to review, even if they get fewer views.
Yeah,
as we're proving at the moment.
So
stop watching this and go watch them.
Yeah, I think that's it that we've done. We hit all of the 1950s ones, but once you hit the 70s, there's loads, but it's perhaps more of a type. So
yeah,
it'd be. I mean, we're doing 52 reviews a year, so
I don't think we're going to run out. Apart from anything else, we probably should adjust our time period for it.
We can start going into the 90s now.
We've been running for over 10 years now, so we could certainly start taking more films from the 90s.
Yeah,
I just can't be bothered to.
I don't think we need to, because there
are so many bad films out there.
And it's quite often that you'll find a film and you go, oh my god, what is this? And you look at the director's CV and you go, we haven't done any of these films.
We've still only done one Andy Milligan film, and I think that's because they look so rubbish.
Yeah. We still got. I think we've only really got one Ed Wood left to do, Glenn or Glenda.
Okay.
It's the only significant one there. But I think we've still got a few Herschel Gordon Lewis's.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but then Ted V. Mickles.
Yeah, although he didn't make that many.
We haven't done. It's got a few of his still to go.
Yeah. I don't think we're worried about running out.
Godfrey Ho.
Yeah. Oh, good.
I don't think we're very close to running out there.
No, hundreds, but they all have the same title. None of them do well. I don't know why. They're hilarious. I'm sure Robin wants to see Jurassic Park, Jurassic, whatever the hell that is, Dominion in the cinema. Nope.
Yeah.
Doubt I'll even bother to see it on television. I've only seen the first of the sort of the reboot, and that was awful.
So praise for Everything Everywhere.
I'm glad people are enjoying Everything Everywhere.
Any interest in the Shaw Brothers films?
I remember enjoying them when I was a kid, and obviously some of them stand out more than others. But
so it's just more Jackie Chan.
Yeah,
I think that's Golden Harvest. Was it Golden Harvest?
Yeah,
Jackie Chan ones. Yeah,
yeah.
So yeah, Summer Hung, all of those ones. Those are the ones that I watched growing up.
I think I watched both. There was a season of Shaw Brothers films on TV at some point. I remember that, and there were some good ones there. But it's not something that completely grabs me.
Do you read whatever that is?
Hagazusa, A Heathen's Curse. Have you seen German Austrian folk horror Hagazusa? Okay, thank you. Sounds like something. If it's streaming anywhere, then that might be what's the sort of thing that we're looking for.
Yeah, grab that. Roald Dahl as an author. What are your thoughts?
I thought he's a very good author. Fantastic. I mean, wonderful imagination.
How do you feel about the fact that his family have sold all of the rights to Netflix to do with as they wish?
Somewhat depressed, but it doesn't take anything away from the book. I mean, whatever Netflix does, it won't take away my childhood memories of Fantastic Mr. Fox. And sometimes you have to tell yourself these things repeatedly while avoiding it like the plague.
I wonder if they were being kind of forward thinking, because there's Roald Dahl has said some things.
Yeah.
And they like, oh, if he gets cancelled, our cash cow's gonna, that's it. So we could just sell it all to Netflix right now for a lump sum and walk away, and then who cares?
Well,
there might have been a calculated decision in that.
He's one of those guys. He had the most depressing life. He had one of the most tragic lives. So I give him something of a pass at least.
Yep, so good to see Michelle Yeoh popular again.
Yeah,
I think she really got to do loads in that film, which was great.
It's a really well-rounded character.
Because
she's such a good actress.
I just watched Crazy Rich Asians, and there she doesn't have much to do in that film, and so sort of to get to see her do such a variety of things in Everything Everywhere was great.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the BBC Count Dracula 1977?
Oh, with Louis Jourdain?
Yes.
Oh, I think it's I still say that's the most true to the book version that I've ever seen, certainly. And I think it's a really fantastic, especially his performance. And Mina is played by Judy Boker, who's Andromeda in Clash of the Titans. Just a bit of trivia. But yeah, I really like that version.
This one's especially for you. Would Dead Space games be a good Lovecraftian film series?
Yep.
Was this one of the many games that you've played on
Dead Space games?
Yeah, there's a series of video games, Dead Space.
Okay.
Well, sure. I love your channel, but it makes me a little sad that you've been doing it for so long and not getting many views. What inspires you to keep going despite not having a huge following you deserve? That's a good question. I think
after 10 years, you're sort of committed.
It's called, what is it? The sunk cost fallacy.
Yeah.
we put this much into it with like any day now.
Yeah.
Success is around the corner.
Any minute.
Slowly catching monkey. So yeah,
that's depressed me for the rest of the evening. Now why the hell do we keep doing this? What a waste of time.
Well,
I don't know. For all that I do not like doing I don't really like watching the bad film movies. To have the privilege of talking to people passionately about stuff like the Golem or the Val Lewton films, and the Golem everybody watched, the Val Lewton film specials nobody watched, but for those nobody who did, it really is a privilege to be able to talk passionately about stuff that you care about and share it with people and find that some of them think the same way. And if the price I've got to pay for that is watching some bad movies, then okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Dandy Dotty was recommending Buffalo Trace. Don't mind Buffalo Trace. More of a Blanton's person, although that's got so overpriced now. Probably not. Right now, also quite like not Eagle Rare. What is it? Wild Turkey's Rare Breed. That one's a very good one.
I've no idea what they're even talking about. It could be a bunch of film titles for all I know.
It's all whiskies.
Okay.
Loving the Werewolf of Priory Grange.
Oh, good. Thank you. Hang on. Somebody mentioned it.
Have to mention it. We've got to show. For the purposes of Mind Movie While I Read, who do you imagine playing Lisa and Talbot in the movie version?
Oh, gosh.
The inevitable movie version.
The inevitable movie version. I don't know. I'm not very well up on actors of that sort of age, which is sort of 18-year-olds.
Okay.
So I'm sorry. I'm gonna bail on that because I just don't know anybody.
Just say Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things. I haven't read the book. That might be totally the wrong casting. What do you think of Sylvester McCoy as the Doctor? Oh
no, just not a comment on Sylvester McCoy, who is a lovely man. I think he was a fine Doctor. By that point, the writing had really gone downhill for I think.
Okay. Have you seen the Cellar Club?
Yes, wonderful. Every week on Talking Pictures TV, Caroline Munro introduces 2 or 3 old horror films.
Oh, cool.
They've had some really odd stuff on. And it's great from our point of view because they are showing some films that we've reviewed in every strand. And you know what? It's great for, I mean, Caroline Munro really was an icon of the 70s, and it's fantastic that she
still is.
She reads out letters that people have written into the Cellar Club every week. It's like Philip Schofield in the broom cupboard again. It's bizarre.
And you should write her a letter.
People, I should, from Dark Corners.
Yeah.
And I think it's good for actors of that era to know that there is still so much love for them and for the films that they were in.
Cool. What do you think of the sinister Winnie the Pooh movie? Do you know about this?
I don't know about that.
So basically now the Winnie the Pooh books are out of copyright.
Yes.
So it means anybody can make a Winnie the Pooh thing as long as it's not.
I was going to say he can't be wearing a red top.
Yeah, exactly. I think he might be in the thing, but
not in the book.
But yeah, so yes, basically it's a horror film with Winnie the Pooh being like I think a serial killer. From what I saw, I remember it looking quite cheap. So it's more, and I could be wrong on this, but it looks like some guys have got maybe like 50 grand and have made a shitty low budget horror film with Winnie the Pooh. I could be wrong.
Okay.
So I do whatever. But what I really like is we're finally getting every year stuff coming out of copyright, which hasn't happened for so long.
Right.
So every year, London After Midnight, if it existed, would be out of copyright next year. So every January the 1st, we get a whole new list of movies which are completely out of copyright, and we can do with as we wish, which I think is
exciting.
Is really good.
It's amazing that the films the silent films we're covering are now over 100 years old. It's extraordinary to me.
I suppose, as you said, with the Golem, the quality of that print is absolutely fantastic.
Why that survives so much better than everything else.
Yeah. Have you read any of the Bond books?
No, actually, never have. Okay. Sorry, there's not really I can add to that.
Which is quite interesting because I was suddenly go, they should just go right back and make like Bond films true to the book, which I probably don't want to do.
Probably not. Essence. I suspect that they were of their time.
Yeah.
Ian Fleming had. I know that all I know is that Ian Fleming had an idea that gay men couldn't whistle, and this is something that apparently was a key plot point to the Bond.
He also had a lot of distaste for lesbians, and everybody else. Favorite Universal movie from the 50s?
From the 50s? I suppose Creature from the Black Lagoon. Then I don't tend to know. I mean, I'm assuming we're talking about horror movies here.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, yeah. What year was? Oh, I think that's 40s. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Ignore me.
Cool. In your opinion, what can we do to make new movies interesting again or good again? So what was it? Okay, Everything Everywhere All at Once clearly stood out as being something different.
Yeah.
So what is it about that film?
What is it about it? I think that it's its own thing as much as anything else. They're not trying to sell anything else. They're not trying to. I don't think they're trying to start a franchise. Mm-hmm. Just had an idea and they followed it through. And in the end, however much it's about all this madness and dimension jumping. I mean, if you ask me to explain how the dimension jumping works, how all of that stuff works, why he has to, the most painful scene I've ever seen in my life on film is him paper cutting between his fingers. Oh my God, I have my thing. I could not explain to you
I'm not being able to do it.
Yeah, I could not explain to you how that film, how the science of it, how any of it works or what it's about, but it didn't matter because you're following the characters. It's character based. It's an original idea that's based around a strong character.
Yeah.
I don't think that, I think that movies have always been pretty much as they are, that there are good ones and there are bad ones. I don't think it's reasonable to say that there are no good movies now. So
yeah,
you've just got to, I think it's always been the case that you've have to root through a lot of shit for them.
Yeah. Carter Beats the Devil is marvelous fun.
Holy hell, is that how far behind we are? I'm so sorry to everyone,
Um,
everyone, everywhere.
Have you reviewed It's Alive? No, we haven't. That's the one with the killer baby.
No.
And there's 3 films in that. But
Three?
also, I think your arch nemesis might be in them.
My arch nemesis.
Michael Moriarty.
Oh gosh.
I might be wrong on that. But
I don't know what rubs me up. We've only done 2 films with him in, but something about that man.
Can't wait for the
snap
next
him.
special, whatever it's going to be. It's going to be like a rehash of the United States of Horror posters,
You're really
Follow-
selling it.
followed by how to make a low budget movie through the lessons
The Val
of
Luton
the
way.
Val Luton way. Those are the next 2 that will hopefully be out within
Yeah.
a month.
I am working very hard on one about the Universal Wolfman, sort of also obviously talking about Lon Chaney. Although I find I'm talking as much about the screenwriter Kurt Siodmak in it.
Oh, interesting.
Well, he lived he was, I think, 102 when he died, so he was
Wow.
able to give interviews. So most accounts are his. Maybe not quite that. He was an old man when he died, certainly. Anyway, that'll be the next sort of like franchise special. Found some good stuff. There's some really interesting stuff in some books that we found.
Really enjoyed the Franco version of Dracula, BBC one. Have you seen Dead End Drive-In from 1986? No. 90s stinkers just aren't as much fun as the other decades. Kind of.
You're probably right, but
Uh,
I figure if we cherry pick,
although I wonder if it's just a case of finding where those bad movies came in, because I think it didn't do very well. But Seance with Corey Feldman,
yeah, that should,
which might even be 2000, like early 2000s. That's a brilliant, terrible, bad movie.
Yeah, I think the thing is, it's not that there aren't as good for us bad movies in the 90s. It's just that by the 90s, people are becoming a lot more aware. So there's also a lot of the self-aware bad movies that don't work for us at all.
Yeah.
But the genuine bad movies, the bad movies made by people who are, God love them, trying their best with no talent at all, they are still out there.
I mean, obviously a big one is The Room with
Tommy Wiseau.
Tommy Wiseau.
I have no idea how that's pronounced.
Is like a good example of a modern bad movie. So these things do come, do happen. Have you seen Scott Pilgrim?
No, actually.
Oh, okay. But it was all right. I really enjoyed Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
And I need to go back and rewatch Hot Fuzz. I remember not being that keen on it, but I understand rewatching help.
The Cornetto ones are I found to be very much diminishing returns. I thought Shaun of the Dead was really good, although I did have some reservations. Hot Fuzz was fine. World's End, I thought didn't work at all.
Yeah. I did actually just pick them up on. So I just bought the Cornetto trilogy recently.
I do also think it's worth noting the role of women just crumbles throughout the trilogy. Rosamund Pike is seriously underserved.
Have you thought about reviewing old TV horror shows?
Graham thinks about it a lot.
I think about it a lot. I'd love to cover a lot of these anthology ones, whether it's Twilight Zone, Outer Limits, Hitchcock Presents. What's another one of those?
I don't know.
So I thought there was something in there.
Amazing stories.
Yeah, and then
I just want some of my life back.
I also used to think that there was some sort of mileage in some of the old TV shows like Manimal, like these sort of weird TV shows that came out.
There probably is.
But it's fitting in amongst everything.
It's just time.
Hugo Hauser is on Shudder, so I will sort that out for you.
Oh, right. Brilliant. Thank you.
Of course, we're very much looking forward to Phil Tippett's movie, which should finally be going on to Shudder on Thursday, I believe, hopefully in the UK as well.
Yes.
What's it called?
Mad God.
So
yeah, we will be reviewing Mad God.
So that's what I've been feel like I've been following for a long time.
Well, it's
seeing the interviews.
He's been making it for 30 years.
Yeah. So very excited for that. So yeah, fingers crossed if it comes out on Thursday, we'll be able to churn that review out quite quickly, so we'll have it out on Friday.
On the Friday, you mean on the following day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or the same day for Patreon,
Oh boy.
maybe. Or Patreon might have to wait a day in that case.
Well, there go my plans for Thursday.
Did you have plans on Thursday?
I did say earlier I'm seeing family, but how early can you get it to me?
Pretty early. I'll do my best. Robin, are you ever going to visit the US?
I don't know. I'm not a traveller.
Have you ever been to the US?
No. I have been in my entire, I've said this before probably, in my entire life, I have been on a school trip to France and I won a weekend in Spain. Those are the only times I have been out of Britain in my life. And it's not that I desperately don't want to, I'm just not a big traveller. Obviously.
Yeah.
I just don't care. I'm sure it's lovely.
Lots of praise for the Val Luton ones.
Thank you. That's the only reason I brought it up. They did so poorly and they continue to do so poorly. I like to be reminded every now and then that they're good videos that just, I guess Luton's not the name I thought he was.
Bully is my favourite horror movie of 2022 so far. I've not heard of this. Okay.
I have heard of it, but I don't know anything about it.
Your hair has changed a lot over the years. What is your favourite style?
I don't really have I don't have style. I just shave it off every 5 weeks or so. And it grows back however it does. This is the unique thing about my hair. I do absolutely nothing with it. When I shave it off, there's no telling how it'll come back. It's basically like Doctor Who regenerating. It could be anything.
The kid from Whiplash as Talbot.
I mean, he's a bit old now, but yeah, if whoever you see is who Talbot is.
You a fan of Robert Eggers films?
The Lighthouse.
Lighthouse, and what's the one he just...
The Northman.
The Northman. I haven't seen that yet.
I haven't seen The Northman.
And Witch.
Oh, right, yeah, Witch was his as well.
I wasn't that blown away by Witch, and I've not seen The Lighthouse. For some reason, didn't quite do it for me. Would you review the Hammer version of The Mummy? Yeah, that will almost certainly happen at some point.
I'm sure we'll do a special on the Hammer Mummy franchise.
Yeah. What do you think of the Young Ones episode Nasty?
I remember watching the Young Ones back in the day and thinking they were brilliant. When I sort of went back to the Young Ones years later, I just did not see what I ever found funny about it, to be honest. So I think that's probably all I've got. I don't remember much about that one. I think Alexei Sale was dressed like a vampire. I have a vague memory of that.
So very excited about Dracula and Frankenstein entering public domain. When was London After Midnight? 27?
That sounds right.
About that. So yeah, about 4 years for Dracula and Frankenstein to enter the public domain. Although the books are already in the public domain, so knock yourself out. And the weird one is always Sherlock Holmes, which is in the public domain, but certain aspects of him, we've talked about this before, they sort of claim that he didn't have feelings until later books. And so it was like copyright infringement if he ever showed any feelings. Last night I watched the 1925 Wizard of Oz. Interesting that Oliver Hardy and Laurel Hardy played the Tin Man.
Yes, he did. Larry Seaman film.
Did you just review that one?
No, but somebody mentioned it on Patreon. Sounds like it might be the same person, actually, because that's a very similar comment, if not.
All right. History Lover. I don't know if they've got the same name on Patreon. So if you don't know, so on Patreon every week, Robin does like a 20-minute,
more like a half-hour
video about a silent film.
Last week's, well, I should have started the sentence. I can't remember what last week's was. Yes, last week's was The Lost World. It's disturbingly close to this week's. This week's will be Way Down East. Yeah. So if you want to hear me talk for half an hour about silent films every week, then please join us on Patreon.
And then
for
you're
as little as $1 a month.
yeah, everybody gets it, and you also get access to the 52 weeks of Hitchcock, which is what you did last year.
Yes.
So you went through every one of Hitchcock's feature films.
Yes.
So yeah, but yep, dollar a month. I mean, you can pay $1 and then binge all of that exclusive content.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you like.
$1 a month will get you 25 hours of me talking about Alfred Hitchcock. How is that? How is that? That's
is
a bargain.
That
I'm
is.
starting to think I should have charged more. I did enjoy watching the films, in fact.
Best spaghetti westerns or remakes of Japanese films.
I mean, the obviously Fistful of Dollars, but Good, the Bad, and the Ugly isn't the remake of a Japanese film, and that's a masterpiece.
4D Man.
Oh,
is there a reason we haven't done that one, or is it just?
I think
just a case
4D Man is one that I started watching and just it didn't quite work for some reason, if I remember rightly. Oh, there's a fly in here.
Yeah. I saw a thing on Twitter going, "Oh, these flies think they're so funny, flying into a room and then pretending they can't find their way out." Was Son of Dracula with Chaney as good as the Lugosi movie? You could watch our 2-part series on the Universal Dracula films for our opinion on that. It's an interesting story, but Chaney is poorly cast in the role.
Chaney is poorly cast.
Bella would have suited the role better.
Yeah, I think so. And there are some. It's a film of great moments and moments that do not work at all. I find that some of the bringing it up to date. I just have that image in my head of Dracula hopping into the car. It's just weird. It just doesn't look right with him in his cape going off to a shotgun wedding. It's just no.
Please stream on Prime Leaving DC from 2012, extremely low budget indie. Please stream on Prime Leaving DC. Okay, so there's a film Leaving DC. It's on Prime. Extremely low budget with brilliant scares. Okay, we will see what we can do.
Sometimes this stuff comes up and it turns out to be the person who directed it.
Oh, is that the case?
Well, it happens on Twitter a lot.
Oh, yeah. I sometimes get emails from people who ask us to review their films.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think you've watched our channel because I watched a little bit of this film and go, this wouldn't go into the streaming. This wouldn't be one of the streaming reviews we do, if you know what I mean. You have a great channel. Ever seen Zombies versus Cockneys?
Yes.
No. Oh, really?
Yes, it was on a horror channel a few years ago. It's actually not as bad as the title suggests.
Oh, okay.
It was tongue-in-cheek enough.
Would you ever make a book based on videos like the top 10 Sherlock Holmes stories or top 10 Roald Dahl stories? Would you ever make a book-based videos? Not book.
Oh, right.
I was like, that was a bit weird.
Probably not.
No, I will.
I think it would have to link back to film in some way. Yeah. So I might, if we were to do something about books, I think it would probably be maybe films based on books or maybe books about film. But I think just books, it's just a little off-brand.
Yeah, and also there's not much to cut away to.
True, it would just be me.
Which means Robin will have to learn his scripts all the way.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
No, Twilight Mirror. I've been abroad. Have you watched the Norwegian horror film Dead Snow? That's the Nazi zombie one.
No.
People talking about the traveling.
Sorry, did I start a conversation inadvertently?
Yep. Here in the States, we had a tradition of TV horror movie hosts. Did you have anything like that in the UK?
No, I think what you mentioned with Mark Kermode was as close as we got. That's definitely completely different tone.
Yeah.
I don't think we had anything like Elvira or Svengoolie, anything like that.
Yeah. Vampira and things. I think it's because it was the horror host thing played especially like public access, really sort of. Yeah, I mean, obviously
it did always seem to be from someone's basement.
They were done, prior to but public access allowed for that sort of thing to
Yeah.
be a bit more readily available. And we just didn't have that sort of public access TV thing here. I'd like to visit the forest where the Hammer films were filmed. Good. I'd like to do. I kind of like to have done it. Bronson Caves.
Yeah, we could still do a Bronson Cave special.
Cinemassacre just did one where he went down there, and I was like, he's done it. I'm really sort of like nailed in like all of the different films. So I was like, oh well, I can not bother researching that now.
That's the only thing that was ever
watch,
holding it back is just the level of
go watch James Rolfe's video on Bronson Caves about that, on all the things that were shot there. It's pretty good, and because he actually went there, it would probably be far better than anything we could have done.
We're not going to Bronson Cave.
Look, here's a monster coming out of the cave. Here's the Batmobile coming out of the cave. Here's Robo Monster coming out of the cave. Can we get more of Robin's dad?
We covered that earlier.
Certainly.
Yes.
Got plans for any long form videos? I think we've said those already.
Yeah.
But the next big one is the Universal Werewolf ones. Have you seen Owen Allen's sci-fi shows? The Time That Landed the Giants, Voyage at the Bottom of the Sea.
Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. I watched when I was a kid because it was on TV on a Sunday afternoon here, and I really liked it. I really liked the black and white one, and then when it got into color, then the plots became really silly. I didn't like it so much then.
I was praised there for your 52 Weeks of Hitchcock.
Thank you.
Have you read the Pan Book of Horror Stories?
I don't think so.
No.
Have we lost our place?
I lost my place a little bit. Oh, here we go. Are your books adaptations or spin-offs?
Neither, really. They're just inspired by those horror films. They're taking classic horror characters and putting them in a modern story that is in no way based, well, is mostly not based on the films. It's a new story, but there's sort of like little Easter eggs and tribute and knowing nods to the films.
We have confirmation. This is not the director of leaving DC.
Ah, right. That's probably the better result, to be honest.
Thoughts on Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, 1931.
Oh, the film. Yeah, I think it's probably the best version of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde there is. I'm still very much of the opinion that there's room for a better version of that no one's quite nailed the subtext of the book.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the film very much. I do feel like a Jekyll and Hyde special is something we'll get to at some point.
Yeah, no, definitely. Have you reviewed any samurai movies? Well, Samurai Cop.
Samurai Cop we did. Black Samurai we did, which was taken down. But not proper ones, no. Actually, having said, no, it's not a samurai film, is it? Actor's Revenge. It's probably the closest we've done is an Actor's Revenge.
Yeah. I'm sure
we should do.
Maybe we get to some at some point.
I always wonder that there's a bit that I feel like Throne of Blood is a horror film.
Yeah, I mean, it's
really,
Macbeth, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got witches and stuff, and it's an absolutely brilliant film.
Yeah.
But
well, that depends whether you want to do Kurosawa as your thing next year.
I do, but I don't think the Patreons do. I might just have to put my foot down because the more I was listening to the Yojimbo soundtrack, and I'd really like to talk about. Yojimbo's a film I watch about once a year.
Well, he didn't do 52 films, did he? So
no,
you'd have to do.
The plan was to do all of his, and in between them, where necessary, would be to do contemporary Japanese films.
Okay,
so stuff. So it would give me an excuse to talk about stuff like Kwaidan and other films. That was the plan. Anyway, I may.
How are we
that.
terming contemporary? If you're putting in Kwaidan.
Contemporary to the Kurosawa.
Okay.
Not modern ones.
I was like, what?
Ones that are being made at the exact same time. So you do Yojimbo and then you do another film from I think 62.
Yeah. But you can, if you're interested. We did already do Kwaidan. No,
we didn't.
We did
Kuroneko and Onibaba,
yes,
which are
I
phenomenal
always get those
Japanese horrors. I suppose Onibaba, both of those you could spin as samurai films. They're both, they're just not big heroic samurai films. In fact, the samurai, particularly in Onibaba, is horrible.
They just mentioned Satoshi. I watched the newer Satoshi movie that came out.
Oh, I think I've seen
like
that.
Maybe 15 years, but it ends with like a big musical number, which is brilliant.
It's a really, I think I know the one you mean.
Do a great dance. I loved
film.
it. Yes, Satoshi.
Really stylish. Was it Beat Takeshi?
Cannot remember.
Okay.
Yeah, but I remember enjoying that. What do you think of the 79 Nosferatu remake?
I think it's. I do prefer the original, which is no surprise. I think that the 79 one sometimes falls a little bit between two stools in that sometimes it feels very 70s and very Herzog, and sometimes it's almost too referencing the original. But I think it's a good version. It's a rare remake that does work. But yeah, I do prefer the original.
Have we ever met anyone we've negatively reviewed? I think that's why we also tend to stick to like the older films, because hopefully they're already dead.
I don't think so. The closest we've come is the guy from Rockula, who just commented on the video, but never met. No,
the guy from Rockula commented on the video. I think the writer of Chainsaw Hookers commented on the video, and the director of Blue Sunshine gave us a copyright strike because of what we said about his film.
It's a terrible film.
And then we also had, but then the director of some of the streaming ones, I think
he never died. The director got in touch and thanked us.
And
to be honest, with those stuff like that, we haven't done so many little indie streaming films recently. They're hard to find ones that those sort of like little hidden gems. They genuinely are hard to find. If you can, and I really felt with that one especially, if you can publicize something that isn't getting a lot of press, something that's so good that I enjoyed so much, then why not? That's brilliant. I like being able to do that. I wish they were easier to find.
Yeah, but again, hopefully that's the reason they're not easy to find. Hopefully they are finding them.
But you got to watch so many to find that, and just don't have the time to not review the stuff I watch. That's one of the biggest problems, is that if I watch something, I've almost got to review it because there's this treadmill of reviews that we've got to keep coming out, and my time has been spent.
Making of the Monster is a great book about makeup effects, starting with Chaney.
Oh, right.
There we go. Have you seen Inside Number 9?
Yes. Big fan. I think some of the episodes of that are just brilliant. Like all anthology series, it's up and down, but there are individual episodes that are just extraordinary. The one I missed was it the Halloween special when they did a live one. I messed that. I actually felt that they made it seem as if it had broken down, and I thought, oh shit, the live thing hasn't worked. And I flipped over and watched something else. I didn't realize it was part of it.
Do you have any interest in The Shadow?
Presumably not, because I don't even know what you're referring to, unless the comic book character.
Don't know.
I don't know.
So
I'd have to say not.
Would you take a look at Black Noon with Ray Milland? Maybe.
Potentially, I suppose.
What do you think of Doctor Who: The Green Death?
That's very specific. I'll be honest, I can't remember that episode off the top of my head.
Alison's Birthday, 1981, is an Aussie horror with one heck of an ending.
Okay.
I don't know which way that means.
Wake in Fright. Wake in Fright, someone's mentioned, is one that's on BFI Player, so we might do that, because that's a pretty brutal film, but definitely worth reviewing as a good Aussie. I call it exploitation, a horror flick of some description. There's a scene in that, for those who haven't seen it, that is really tough going.
Pardon me if you've answered this a million times, but what's the origin of the phrase "Welcome to my dark corner of this sick world"? So this came from when we started doing this and we were looking for a title for the show. and it's dark corners of this sick world is a line in the trailer for one of the Mondo films.
Yeah,
I forget which one it is.
I do.
Mondo World or something like that.
Yeah.
Um,
We were flicking through looking for something to call it, really.
Yeah.
That phrase jumped out.
yeah, so that's
Sort of
that's
wish it
where-
hadn't now.
so that's where the phrase came from. That's search-friendly phrase.
Yeah, yeah. The name of the channel has probably hurt us more than anything else over the years, but it does cover who we are. It's just a shame it doesn't say who we are.
Yeah. I mean, it's so tough. But again, if we had called ourselves like shitty movies,
We wouldn't have been
then we
able to
wouldn't have been able
expand.
to do the
Yeah.
other stuff. So yeah.
Yeah.
Will you complete the Herschel Gordon Lewis reviews? Yes, we will. Any thoughts on the Netflix Vampire Midnight Mass?
No.
We might check it out. Good subject for Robin's next book, The Berkeley Square Horror. Real life Lovecraft like monster in the heart of London.
I mean, I'll be honest, that doesn't sound like one of my books, but thank you for the suggestion.
What is the next book?
It's going to be called the Raven, the Werewolf,
The Werewolf, the Raven, and the Black Cat.
I've got to get these things in the right order. It's the Wolf, the Raven, and the Black Cat. I think is the one which has the nicest cadence to it. So yeah, it's kind of based around the Universal Poe films.
It's going to be a bit of like an old dark housey kind
Yeah, it's going to have that vibe, and it's bringing back a character from one of the earlier books, who hasn't reappeared, which is a rarity. So, but it'll still be very much standalone. I think I'm hoping it'll be one of the most standalone ones. Starting work on that quite soon in terms of actually sitting down and typing. So,
have you kind of know where the story's going?
More or less. There's a couple of things that have been bugging me for a while, and some of them have cleared up. And there's a couple I would love to spend some time just sorting out some of the problems. I haven't got that time at the moment, but I should do come July. But I'd like to start typing in July. But it will all come together.
What scared you as a child?
What scared me as a child? Oh, lots of things. Think of something specific. For some reason, I remember an audiobook version of H. Rider Haggard's Solomon's Mines. And I don't know if it was the voice that the guy that was done, or the description of the character of Gagool.
Yeah.
The sort of the witch in that. But that freaked me out to the extent that when I would sort of like reach for my light switch in bed from night, I had a morbid fear of this hand coming to grab mine. And so that I wouldn't turn the light on because I was afraid of her grabbing me.
Black Samurai was taken down because somebody had distribution rights to it in Italy, and they thought that the review would hurt them being able to sell the film.
Yeah, those few thousand people.
In hindsight, I should have contested that and would have won, because they didn't really have legitimate rights to take it down. At the very least, they could have just blocked it in Italy if it was an issue.
It was a very poorly performing review.
Yeah, but everything was back then.
even by standards, by the standards back then.
But I think I'd put it back up on Patreon. So
all right,
you can find it there if you desperately want to see it. Do you think The Fog is as good as Halloween? The Fog as good as Halloween? No.
I think probably not. It's a good film, but there's something about Halloween that I think just sometimes it's that indefinable thing that just makes it resonate.
Okay, Robin's yawning, and we got a full day of shooting tomorrow, so I'm going to whiz through these final things. Somebody said, was Mondo Kane the Dark Corners?
Could have been.
It could have been. I can literally, it's in a book in my bathroom. I could go look at it. I'm not going to, but I might write it in the comments of this video, so come back and see it. Peter Jackson's Bad Taste and Brain Dead. Thoughts?
I have very few thoughts on them. I think they show a real enthusiasm for filmmaking that I'd like to see in some of his more recent work.
Have you seen Japanese Invisible Man films?
No, I've sort of like skipped through them for clips, but other than that, no.
What do you think of Toho science fiction films?
I think they're very similar to Toho some other ones, to be honest. It's always difficult. We only get the English language dubs, and I don't think they're always doing them a great service.
How do you define a successful video? Ooh, if it's a regular review, if it does 20,000 in a week, it is successful.
If it does 20,000 in a week, it's extraordinary.
Yes.
If it does 15,000, then I'm happy.
And for a special, anything over 100,000 in rapid time. Yeah. Will you ever do Octoman? We already
have
did
done
it.
Octoman.
I think you might be thinking of Attack of the Octopus People. And boy, is it scary. Do you not get that?
No, actually.
In Gremlins 2.
Ah, right.
That's Grandpa Fred.
Grandpa.
Grandpa Fred calls it Attack of the Octopus People. Thank you very much for doing this. You're very welcome. Dark Corners has a paranormal expert posting here all the time. Me. That's Dandy Dotty. Cool. And I've reached the end. So we're going to call it a night here. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll try and do another one of these next time we shoot. Maybe not quite so late, maybe.
Yeah, this was... we're still figuring... Now that I've moved, we're sort of figuring out a different way to do things, and maybe this wasn't exactly perfect.
Yes.
But we'll figure something out.
All been a little hectic. You moved. I had a holiday, got COVID. All of our scheduling got thrown out, and we're still rapidly trying to catch up.
Yeah,
we're getting there.
Channel is suffering. Honestly, we can't go a few months without a special, and everything goes to hell.
So yes, so hopefully some good stuff coming your way. But cool, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And have a lovely evening. Good night.
Good night, guys.